Black and white, two fates, one road. The meeting. In a small but bustling American city called Westfield, on a windy autumn evening, two girls crossed paths in the city park. The first was Jade, with deep brown skin and eyes that burned like fire. Born and raised in New York, she was strong-willed, fearless, yet always searching for her place in the world. The second was Lily, pale-skinned with golden hair, radiating warmth and calm wherever she went. She had just moved to the city from the countryside, full of trust in people and seeing the world through hopeful eyes. When they met in the park, their personalities were completely different, yet there was an unexplainable pull between them. Jade offered to show her around the city. Lily, in turn, felt there was a secret hidden in Jade's eyes. The mysterious car. A month later, walking together down a dark street at night, they noticed an old black car with tinted windows. It stood silently on the edge of the park. Jade said it looked like one of those vehicles used by criminals she'd heard about in the city, but Lily thought it was just someone's parked car. The strangest thing was that no one seemed to be inside, yet the headlights flickered on and off. As they approached, the car door slowly creaked open. Jade, this isn't right. Let's get out of here. Lily, no, I want to see what's inside. A frightening discovery. Inside, on the back seat, lay an old black leather bag. Jade told her not to open it, but Lily couldn't resist her curiosity. She unzipped it and found a white sheet of paper with a handwritten note. If you found this note, you are now part of our game. Within 72 hours, you must solve 7 riddles, or your fate will be changed forever. The city's secrets. Over the next few days, strange events began happening in the city. Under an old bridge, Lily saw strange symbols carved into the stone. Jade noticed a figure watching them from a distance on a street corner. Both began to realize that the urban legends people whispered about might be true. At night, they studied a map, eventually figuring out that the first of the 7 riddles led to an old library. In its dark, dust-covered corner, they found a silver lock, the key to it hidden somewhere in the next clue from a note. The test of friendship. The 72 hours passed quickly. With each mystery they solved, the bond between the two girls grew stronger. Lily learned about Jade's difficult childhood, and Jade thought she understood why Lily had moved to the city alone, but Lily was still hiding one last secret. On the final night, they clearly saw they were being followed. The black car returned, this time with the door wide open. A voice came from inside. At last, you ready to get in? Into the unknown. The street was eerily quiet except for the soft hum of the car's engine. The black vehicle stood like a shadow, waiting to swallow them whole. Lily's heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears, but her eyes stayed locked on the open door. Jade, standing just behind her, clenched her fists. Don't even think about it, Jade hissed, her voice low but sharp. This is how people disappear. Lily glanced over her shoulder, her face pale but determined. What if this is the only way to get answers? We've already played half their game. What if the rest of the clues are inside? Before Jade could reply, the voice from the car spoke again, deeper this time, almost impatient. Get in, or we'll come for you. Jade's instinct screamed to run, but the alley behind them was pitch dark, and something about the way the shadows moved there made her feel like danger was on both sides. Finally, she muttered, fine, but we sit together, and if anything feels wrong, we jump out. They stepped inside. The door slammed shut with a force that made Lily flinch. The interior smelled faintly of leather and gasoline, but it was the driver that caught their attention, or rather, the lack of one. The driver's seat was empty. The steering wheel turned on its own, the car pulling away smoothly from the curb. Jade's hands gripped the seat. This isn't possible, she whispered. From a small speaker near the dashboard, the voice returned. 7 riddles. You've solved 2. The third awaits in the place where no one speaks, but everyone listens. Lily exchanged a glance with Jade. That could be the old radio station, she guessed. The car seemed to respond, turning sharply and speeding down the dimly lit streets. Buildings flashed by, and Lily began to notice something disturbing. There were no people outside. The city that never slept suddenly felt abandoned. Finally, the car stopped in front of a crumbling brick building with a faded sign, WFRD, on air. The windows were boarded up, and a heavy chain hung across the front doors. The voice said only one thing before the doors unlocked with a loud click. Inside, you will find more than the riddle. You will find the truth about one of you. Jade froze. What do they mean by that? Lily didn't answer. She simply stepped toward the dark doorway, her shadow stretching long and thin under the flickering streetlight. The station of secrets. The air inside the radio station was cold and stale, thick with the smell of dust and rusted metal. Their footsteps echoed through the empty lobby, the sound unnervingly loud in the silence. Jade kept glancing over her shoulder, her nerves on edge, while Lily moved forward with the strange, calm determination of someone walking toward a destiny they couldn't avoid. The walls were lined with peeling posters of long-forgotten shows. The smiling faces of radio hosts faded and ghost-like. A broken on-air sign hung crooked above a doorway that led deeper inside. "Why is it so quiet?" Jade whispered. "Because," Lily replied softly, "this place hasn't been alive for decades." As they stepped into the main recording room, something unexpected happened. The old broadcasting equipment flickered to life. Dials spun on their own, static filled the air, and then a voice, not the same one from the car, began to speak. It was a woman's voice, calm yet cold. "Riddle 3. I have no mouth, yet I speak. I have no ears, yet I hear. Find me, and the next door will open." Jade's eyes darted around the room. That's a speaker system, or maybe a recording, but Lily wasn't looking at the equipment. She was staring at a dusty shelf in the corner. On it sat an old reel-to-reel tape recorder, its reel spinning slowly even though it wasn't plugged in. Drawn to it, Lily pressed the play button. The static cleared, and another voice emerged, one that made Jade's stomach twist. It was a man's voice, and he was speaking directly to Lily. "Lily, if you're hearing this, it means they've found you. I told you never to come back here. You're not safe with her." Jade stiffened. "With her? What is that supposed to mean?" But the tape kept playing. "You know what she did? Don't trust her, Lily. Not again." The reel stopped spinning. The room fell silent, except for the faint buzz of the old on-air sign flickering above them. Jade's chest tightened. "Lily, who was that?" Lily finally turned to her, her expression unreadable. Someone who thought he knew the truth. But the truth is much darker. Before Jade could speak again, the door behind them slammed shut. The voice from the car returned, echoing through the speakers. "You found the riddle. Now you must choose who you believe." The first betrayal. The moment the voice faded, a heavy lock clicked into place somewhere in the walls. Jade and Lily stood frozen in the dim recording room, the dusty air pressing down on them like a weight. The faint hum of the old equipment was the only sound, until a slow, deliberate knock echoed from the far end of the hallway. 3 knocks. Pause. 2 knocks. Jade's eyes narrowed. That's not random. That's a signal. Lily didn't answer. She walked to the window and peeked through a crack in the boarded wood. Outside, under the flickering street lamp, stood a tall figure in a black coat, face hidden by the brim of a hat. In his hand was something shiny, a small silver key. "Who is that?" Jade asked, stepping closer. Lily's voice was low. "Someone who can help us, but only me." Before Jade could process those words, Lily moved quickly, grabbing an old metal chair and smashing it against the window until the wood splintered. She climbed through without hesitation, landing on the cracked sidewalk below. "Lily!" Jade shouted, scrambling after her, but the figure in the coat took Lily's arm and began leading her toward the shadows. Jade managed to leap down and chase them, but the streets seemed wrong, stretched, empty, like the city had twisted into some other place. Her footsteps echoed too loud, her breath too harsh in the cold air. "Stop!" she yelled, but they didn't. The figure and Lily turned a corner into an alley, and when Jade followed, she found only the key lying on the ground. She picked it up. It was engraved with 3 numbers, 472. Before she could think, the black car screeched to a stop at the mouth of the alley. The passenger door swung open on its own. The voice came again. "You've been left behind, Jade. Do you still want to follow her?" Jade stared at the empty seat inside the car. Her pulse was racing, but anger had replaced fear. "Yes," she said aloud. "And if you've hurt her, I'll burn this whole game down." The door shut as soon as she sat inside. The car pulled away, faster than before, carrying her deeper into the city, and deeper into whatever trap they had set for the two girls. The secret Lily carried. The car's interior felt colder now, the leather seats stiff, the windows fogging faintly, though Jade's breath was hot and fast. The streets outside blurred into a smear of lights and shadows. She had no idea where the car was taking her, but her mind was fixed on one thing: Lily's face as she left. It wasn't fear she'd seen. It was recognition. The voice returned through the speakers, quieter than before. She wasn't taking Jade. She went willingly. Lies, Jade shot back. You're trying to turn me against her. No. She's been part of this longer than you. You just didn't notice the signs. The car slowed in front of a massive building, the old municipal courthouse, abandoned for years after a fire. The once grand marble steps were cracked, and weeds grew between them. The front doors creaked open as if waiting for her. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of soot and damp paper. The main chamber was lit only by a single swinging lamp. On the judge's bench, something glimmered, an envelope sealed with deep red wax. Jade climbed the steps and tore it open. Inside was a single photograph. It showed Lily, younger by maybe 2 years, standing beside the same tall man in the black coat. Her hair was shorter, her smile small and tired. And in her hands, unmistakable, was the same black leather bag they had found in the car. On the back of the photograph, written in neat handwriting, were the words, "She brought the game to you." Jade's grip tightened, the edges of the photo cutting into her skin. Her thoughts raced back to the first night they met. The way Lily had agreed too quickly to explore the car, how she never seemed as scared as she should have been. The swinging lamp flickered. From the dark hallway behind her, slow footsteps approached. "Jade," came Lily's voice, soft and almost pleading. "You weren't supposed to find that yet." Jade turned sharply, heart pounding. Lily stood in the shadows, the tall man behind her. His gloved hand rested lightly on her shoulder. "Tell me it's not true," Jade demanded. Lily hesitated, then stepped forward, but her eyes didn't hold guilt. They held something colder. "It's true," she said, "but you don't understand. This game, it's the only way to survive. The rules of survival." Jade's body went rigid, her fists curling at her sides. "Survive what, Lily? We could have walked away from all of this." The tall man's voice cut in before Lily could answer, deep, smooth, and unsettlingly calm. "No one walks away once they've been marked. The moment you open that bag, you belong to the game." She knew it. She just didn't tell you. Jade glared at Lily. "You could have warned me." Lily stepped closer, her face pale but resolute. "And what would you have done? Run? That only makes it worse. The ones who run are the first to disappear." The man moved toward the center of the chamber, his boots echoing on the cracked marble floor. From inside his coat, he pulled out a small black box no larger than a deck of cards. With a click, it sprang open to reveal a set of brass tokens, each engraved with strange, looping symbols. "These," he said, "are your lives. Each token represents a chance to stay in the game. Lose them all, and you vanish forever." He slid 2 tokens toward Jade, 3 toward Lily. "You begin uneven. She's earned hers already. You have catching up to do." Jade's jaw tightened. "And how do we earn them?" The man's eyes glinted under the brim of his hat. "By winning. Each riddle, each task, each truth you face. If you succeed, you gain a token. If you fail, you lose one. And if you lose your last," he made a slow, cutting motion across his throat. Lily avoided Jade's gaze, fiddling with one of her tokens. "It's not just riddles," she murmured. "Sometimes it's people." Before Jade could press her, the sound of heavy doors slamming shut echoed through the courthouse. The voice from the car now boomed through hidden speakers, no longer calm, almost gleeful. "Round 4 begins now. You have 1 hour. The target is already in play." Jade felt her stomach drop. "Target?" The man gave a faint smile. "They mean the person you have to find before someone else does." "And if we don't?" Jade asked. Lily finally met her eyes. "Then the game takes them, and it won't bring them back." The target in the shadows. The words "the target is already in play" echoed in Jade's mind like a warning bell she couldn't silence. The tall man placed his gloved hands behind his back and stepped aside, as if dismissing them. "You'll know the target when you see them," he said. "The game is good at making it obvious." Lily grabbed her coat from a nearby chair, already moving toward the courthouse doors. Jade followed, though every step was filled with questions she wanted to throw in Lily's face. But there was no time. The 1-hour countdown had already begun. Somewhere in the city, a stranger's life was tied to their own survival. The streets outside were unnervingly still. Street lights buzzed weakly, and the shadows between buildings seemed thicker than normal, swallowing corners whole. "We start in the East District," Lily said, her voice clipped and businesslike. "You sound like you've done this before," Jade replied, not hiding the bitterness in her tone. "I have." Lily didn't look back. "And if we waste time, we both lose." They moved quickly through narrow back streets, scanning every face, every alleyway, until a sound broke through the silence. A faint cry. It came from the far end of a graffiti-covered alley. A figure was slumped against a wall, knees pulled to their chest, breathing hard. Even from a distance, Jade could see a faint red glow pulsing from a small mark on their wrist, the same symbol engraved on their brass tokens. "That's them," Lily said. "The mark means they've been chosen." Jade stepped forward, but the figure looked up, and her stomach clenched. It was a teenage boy, no older than 16, his face pale and terrified. "Please," he whispered. "They said someone was coming. They said I had to run." Before Jade could respond, the air behind them shifted, the low rumble of footsteps, many of them moving fast. Dark silhouettes appeared at the alley's mouth, blocking their way out. "They're hunters," Lily said under her breath. "If they get him first, it's over." Jade's pulse roared in her ears. "Then we don't let them." Without another word, she grabbed the boy's arm and pulled him to his feet. The hunters started to run, their shadows stretching unnaturally across the walls as they closed in. "Go!" Lily shouted, leading them deeper into the maze of alleys. But Jade could already tell the hunters were faster, and one of them wasn't chasing the boy at all. One of them was coming straight for her. The alley chase. The cold night air tore at Jade's lungs as she ran, her grip firm on the boy's wrist. The uneven pavement of the back alleys forced her to watch every step, but the pounding footsteps behind them were getting louder, closer, faster. Lily darted ahead, leading the way like she'd memorized every twist and turn of this city's underbelly. The boy stumbled, almost falling, but Jade yanked him upright. "Keep moving," she snapped. A shadow swept across the wall to her right, too fast to be human. Before she could react, one of the hunters lunged from the darkness, slamming her against the brick wall. The impact rattled her bones. The figure's face was obscured by a black hood, but the hands pinning her down were unnaturally cold, fingers like steel clamps. Up close, she saw the truth. The skin around his jaw was cracked, like porcelain, and beneath it glowed faint veins of light. His eyes were a dull, cloudy white, unfocused yet fixed on her with chilling precision. "Give me the marked one," the hunter hissed, his voice mechanical, layered with static. "Not a chance," Jade spat, twisting hard and slamming her elbow into his ribs. He didn't grunt, didn't flinch, but the brief distraction gave her enough space to kick off the wall, pushing him back. The hunter recovered instantly, coming at her again, but this time Jade was ready. She swung the brass token from her pocket like a weapon, and when it struck his arm, a flash of light burst between them. The hunter staggered back, smoke rising from the point of impact, so they could be hurt. "Jade!" Lily's voice cut through the chaos. She stood at the far end of the alley with the boy, waving frantically. "Move!" Jade sprinted toward them, the hunter's footsteps right behind her. As she reached Lily, they veered left into an even narrower passage, their shoulders brushing the damp, moss-covered walls. The alley suddenly opened into a small, fenced courtyard. Dead end. The hunters closed in from the only exit. The boy was trembling so hard Jade could hear his teeth chatter. Lily scanned the fence and spotted a rusted metal ladder leading up to the rooftops. "Climb," she ordered. The boy went first, Lily after him. Jade stayed at the bottom, brass token in hand, ready to hold off the hunters for as long as she could. One of them stepped forward, tilting his head in an unnatural, jerky motion. "You can't save them both," he said in that eerie, layered voice. "Choose." Jade gritted her teeth. "I choose to ruin your night." And with that, she charged. The rooftop revelation. Jade slammed into the first hunter with all her weight, the impact knocking him into the second. The collision bought her a few precious seconds to grab the ladder and haul herself up. Rust flaked off under her hands, staining her palms red-brown, but she climbed fast, adrenaline drowning out the burn in her muscles. Below, the hunters recovered quickly, their pale, cracked faces tilting upward in eerie unison. One began to scale the ladder with unnatural speed, his limbs moving in a jerky but relentless rhythm. Jade scrambled onto the rooftop just as Lily reached down to pull her the rest of the way up. The boy crouched nearby, hugging himself against the bitter wind. "They won't stop," Jade panted, glancing over the edge. "We need to move." Lily nodded and led them across the uneven roof tiles, their footsteps clattering in the darkness. In the distance, the city stretched like a maze of shadows and scattered lights. But Jade barely had time to take it in before a thud shook the roof behind them. A hunter had made it up. The thing moved differently now, faster, like it had dropped all pretense of human motion. It sprinted toward them, and Jade knew they wouldn't outrun it on the open rooftop. She turned to face it, token clutched tight. But the hunter didn't attack. Instead, it stopped 10 feet away, tilting its head in that unsettling way. Its voice, though still layered with static, was quieter now. "You think she's saving you," it said, its pale eyes flicking toward Lily. "But she's leading you to the end, just like the last one." Jade's chest tightened. "Last one." The hunter's cracked lips curved into something like a smile. Asked her how she earned her first token. Lily's voice snapped like a whip. "Don't listen to him." But Jade had already turned to her. "What is he talking about?" Lily hesitated, her golden hair whipping in the wind. "It's not what you think." The hunter took another step forward, its voice a rasp. "She let someone else die. That's how she stayed in the game." Before Jade could react, Lily pulled the boy to his feet. "We have to go now," she insisted. But Jade didn't move. For the first time since the game began, she wasn't sure if Lily was running towards safety or dragging them all closer to danger. The first token. The wind howled across the rooftop, whipping at their clothes, carrying with it the smell of rain and city smoke. Jade's legs felt rooted to the spot. Her heart pounded, but it wasn't from the chase anymore. It was from the weight of the hunter's words. "Lily," Jade said slowly, her voice trembling with both anger and disbelief, "tell me what he means." Right now, Lily's jaw tightened, her blue eyes darting to the boy and then back to Jade. "This isn't the time." "It's exactly the time," Jade shot back. "Because I'm starting to think I don't know who you are." The hunter stood still, almost like it was enjoying the scene. "She knows the rules better than anyone, Jade. She survived before. You're still pretending there's a way out without blood on your hands." "Shut up." Lily barked at the hunter, but her voice cracked, a sign she was losing control. Jade stepped closer to her. "Your first token. How did you get it?" For a moment, Lily's shoulders slumped. The fight seemed to drain from her face, replaced by something heavy and broken. "There was another player," she began quietly, the wind almost stealing her words. "A woman named Erica. We were both chosen for the same task, protect the target until sunrise. But the hunters came sooner than we expected. We had one way out, and only one of us could take it." Jade's throat felt tight. "And you?" "I took it," Lily said, the words falling like stones. "I didn't push her into them. I didn't kill her. But I ran, and they caught her. That's how I earned my first token." The boy stared at her in horror. Jade just shook her head slowly, like she was trying to clear fog from her thoughts. "So, when you tell me we can win this game together, you mean as long as you're the one who makes it out alive?" Lily's eyes flashed. "No, I'm trying to keep you alive, Jade. But if you don't start making hard choices, the game will make them for you." Before Jade could answer, the hunter suddenly lunged. Not at Jade, but at the boy. Lily screamed his name, and Jade's instincts took over. She shoved herself between the boy and the hunter, token in hand. Light exploded where she struck, sending the creature sprawling backward into the rooftop's edge. But in the chaos, the boy's eyes locked on Jade's, and for just a second, Jade saw something strange. The mark on his wrist was gone. The wrong target. The light from Jade's strike faded, leaving only the dim glow of the city skyline. The hunter's body slid down the rooftop's edge, its limbs folding unnaturally as it disappeared into the shadows below. The boy clung to Lily, shaking, his breath ragged. Jade straightened, adrenaline still burning in her veins, but her eyes locked on the boy's wrist. A moment ago, the mark, the glowing red sigil they'd been told meant the target, had been there. Now it was gone, the skin pale and unmarked. "Lily," Jade said slowly, "look at his wrist." Lily glanced down, frowning. "What?" The boy pulled his arm back quickly, hiding it behind him. "It's nothing. I guess it just faded." "No," Jade said, stepping forward, her tone sharp. "That's not how the game works. We saw what happens when someone's mark disappears. It means they're out. Either they win, or they die." The boy's breathing grew shallow. "I'm not out." The voice from the car suddenly came through the air again, deep and cold, though they couldn't see any speakers. "Congratulations, you found the decoy." "Decoy," Jade repeated, her stomach sinking. "The real target has been near you all along." 40 minutes remain. The air felt heavier, the night darker. Jade turned slowly to Lily, her eyes narrowing. "They're talking about one of us." Lily's expression was unreadable. "No, that can't be." The boy took a step back, eyes wide with fear. "If they mean one of you, then I don't want to be anywhere near this." Jade's mind raced. If Lily was the real target, that meant the hunters would focus on her, and Jade would have to decide whether to protect her or let the game take her, the way Lily had done to Erica. But if Jade was the target, then she'd just been running in circles while the clock ticked down toward her own end. The rooftop wind picked up, carrying the distant sound of footsteps, fast, many, closing in from multiple directions. "They're splitting up," Lily said, scanning the rooftops around them. "They know who it is." Jade took a deep breath. "Then I guess we're about to find out. The real target." The pounding footsteps came from every side now, echoing off the brick walls like war drums. Jade positioned herself between Lily and the nearest rooftop edge, scanning the shadows for movement. The boy had already backed into a corner, his wide eyes darting between them, as though he knew something they didn't. A voice rang out, not from the hidden speakers this time, but from the darkness itself. "The hunt is over. The target has been chosen." From the shadows emerged 3 hunters. Their cracked porcelain faces glimmered faintly under the moonlight, white eyes locked on their prey. The one in front tilted its head in that jerky, unnatural way before speaking in its layered, static-laced voice. "The target," it said, "is Jade." The word hit her like a physical blow. For a second, her brain refused to process it. "Me?" Lily's expression was unreadable. "No, that's not possible." "It is," the lead hunter interrupted. "She has been marked since the moment she touched the first token. All this time, you've been protecting her." Jade's heart pounded in her ears. She glanced at Lily, searching for any flicker of truth or betrayal. Lily stepped toward her, hands half raised, like she wanted to grab her and run, or maybe hold her in place. The hunters fanned out, their pale fingers flexing like claws. "One choice," the lead one said. "Give her to us now, and you may both leave the game alive. Refuse, and we take you all." Jade backed away a step. The edge of the rooftop was only a few feet behind her. Below was a drop that would break bones, maybe worse. She looked at Lily. "So this is it? This is the choice you had to make before." Lily's voice was tight, almost shaking. "I'm not giving you up, Jade. You didn't say that to Erica." Jade shot back. The hunters began to close in, their movements quickening, their pale faces tilting in eerie unison. Lily reached in her coat and pulled out both of her remaining tokens, pressing them into Jade's hand. "Run." Jade shook her head. "You run. I'll." Before she could finish, when the hunters lunged, Jade shoved Lily aside and swung her own token like a blade, the flash of light throwing monstrous shadows across the rooftop. The lead hunter recoiled, but didn't fall. "You can't outrun us, target," it hissed. "We will follow you into the last hour." And then, as if on cue, the voice from the game filled the air again. 30 minutes remain. Jade's breath caught. Half an hour to stay alive, with the entire city against her. Breaking the rules. Jade didn't think, she ran. Her boots pounded against the cracked rooftop as the wind tore at her hair. Behind her, the hunters moved like a single entity, their jerky steps disturbingly fast, their pale faces catching flashes of moonlight. Every time she risked a glance back, they were closer. "Jump!" Lily's voice cut through the chaos. Jade looked ahead. The gap between this rooftop and the next was at least 6 feet. Too far for comfort, but too close to hesitate. She sprinted hard, leapt, and hit the next roof in a rough roll that scraped her elbows raw. Lily landed beside her, George's barely breaking stride. The boy trailed behind, somehow keeping up, his breathing ragged. "They won't stop now," Lily panted. "Once the target is revealed, they chase until the timer ends." "Great," Jade shot back. "So I'm supposed to just keep running until they get bored?" "They never get bored," Lily said. "But there's another way." They dropped to a lower building via a rusted fire escape, the metal groaning under their weight. On the street below, the city was a maze of darkened storefronts and silent intersections. The streetlights flickered in a strange rhythm. 3 quick flashes, then darkness, then one long glow. "That's a signal," Lily muttered. "To who?" Jade demanded. "To the gamekeeper," Lily replied, her voice low. "The only one who can change the rules." Jade stopped short. "Change the rules? I thought you said no one could." Lily hesitated. "If you're willing to pay for it, you can. But the cost, it's bad, Jade." Before Jade could press her, the sound of shattering glass erupted down the block. Hunters poured from the windows of a dark building, their limbs twisting unnaturally as they hit the pavement. They didn't even slow down, they came straight for her. "Moo!" Lily shouted. She grabbed Jade's arm and yanked her down an alley so narrow they had to run single file. Trash cans toppled in their wake, and the air smelled of rotting food and rainwater. The alley dead-ended at a brick wall, but Lily didn't slow. She slammed her palm against a small brass plate set into the wall, engraved with the same curling symbols as their tokens. With a heavy click, part of the wall swung inward, revealing a narrow, candlelit staircase spiraling down into the ground. "They'll follow us," Jade hissed. "Not here," Lily said, pulling her inside. "This is gamekeeper territory. Hunters don't step on his ground without permission." The door shut behind them just as the hunters rounded the corner, their pale hands clawing at the air. Jade's heart pounded, but it wasn't just from the escape. She had the sinking feeling that whatever was down these stairs might be worse than what they just run from. The gamekeeper's offer. The staircase spiraled deeper than Jade expected, each step creaking under their weight. The candlelight grew warmer but dimmer the further they went, the air heavy with the scent of burning wax and something older, a dry, metallic smell that made Jade's skin prickle. At the bottom was a narrow stone corridor leading to a single iron door. It swung open on its own, groaning like it hadn't been touched in years. The room beyond was round, the walls lined with shelves stacked with strange objects, old clocks with no hands, decks of cards with blank faces, glass jars filled with folded scraps of paper. In the center sat a man at a table carved from dark wood. His skin was pale, but not cracked like the hunters, his black coat sweeping the floor. His eyes, a sharp gray, fixed on them the moment they entered. "So," he said, voice smooth but carrying the weight of command, "the target comes to me." "Unusual." Lily stepped forward quickly. "We need an intervention." The man's lips curved faintly. "You always do, Lily." Jade frowned. "You know her?" "Oh, very well," the man replied, leaning back in his chair. "She's bargained with me before. Twice, in fact." Lily stiffened but didn't deny it. Jade crossed her arms. "Then you know why we're here. The hunters won't stop, and I have less than..." She glanced at the clock on the table. 20 minutes left. The gamekeeper tapped a finger on the wood. I can remove your mark, Jade. In the hunt. But there is always a cost. What kind of cost? Jade asked. He smiled, slow and deliberate. Life for life. The game must take someone else in your place. Someone close enough to you for the balance to be kept. Jade's stomach dropped. She didn't need him to spell it out. Her eyes flicked to Lily. Lily's hands curled into fists. No, she's not making that choice. The gamekeeper's gaze didn't waver. She will if she wants to live. Jade's voice was low, almost a whisper. And if I refuse, then the hunt ends as it was meant to, he said calmly. With you. The silence in the room was heavy. Jade could feel Lily's eyes on her, but she couldn't look back. The gamekeeper's words pressed on her like a weight. This was the kind of hard choice Lily had warned about. The gamekeeper slid a small, black coin across the table toward Jade. Place this in my hand, and the transfer will be done. Lily stepped forward. Jade, if you do this. The man raised a hand, silencing her. Careful, Lily. Speak too much, and she may learn what happened the last time you came to me. Jade's pulse thundered in her ears. What happened last time? She asked. But Lily stayed silent. The last bargain. The candlelight flickered, stretching Lily's shadow long across the floor. She stood rigid, her fists clenched, eyes locked on the gamekeeper as if willing him to shut his mouth. But Jade's voice cut through the tension, low and sharp. Tell me what happened last time, Lily. Lily's lips pressed into a thin line. It doesn't matter. We need to focus on getting you out. No. Jade interrupted, stepping closer. I'm not running blind through this nightmare, while you keep secrets that could get me killed. If you want me to trust you, start talking. The gamekeeper leaned back in his chair, clearly savoring the moment. She won't tell you, so I will. The last time she came here, the hunters had her cornered. She was the target, and I offered her the same bargain I'm offering you now. Jade's stomach tightened. Who did you take? Lily's eyes darted away, but the gamekeeper's gaze stayed locked on Jade as he spoke. A man named Jade, mid-20s, strong, clever, loved her enough to stay with her until the end. And he gestured at Lily with a flick of his hand, placed the coin in my palm. Jade froze. You sacrificed him? It wasn't like that. Lily's voice cracked, desperate. We were both going to die. He told me to do it. He made me promise I'd survive. The gamekeeper smiled faintly. Promises are convenient when the other party isn't alive to contest them. Jade took a step back, her thoughts spiraling. She remembered all the times Lily had told her you have to make hard choices, all the warnings about survival. Now it was clear, those words weren't lessons. They were confessions. Is that what you want me to do now? Jade demanded. Put this coin in his hand and let him take you. Lily's expression shifted. Pain, fear, and something Jade couldn't name flickered in her eyes. If it means you live, yes. The gamekeeper's gray eyes glinted in the candlelight. You have 15 minutes, Jade. After that, the choice will be made for you. The small black coin felt impossibly heavy in her palm. Her heartbeat thudded in her ears. She could save herself, or she could refuse and face the hunt head-on. Lily's voice was almost a whisper. Please don't die for me. The last 15 minutes. The coin sat cold and heavy in Jade's palm, its black surface seeming to drink in the candlelight. Every tick of the old clock on the gamekeeper's table sounded louder than the last. 15 minutes. She looked at Lily, who stood motionless, her golden hair shadowed by the dim light. The same woman who had pulled her out of danger again and again, and the same woman who had once traded someone else's life to survive. Put the coin in my hand, the gamekeeper said, his voice as calm as if he were asking for the time. The moment it touches my skin, the hunt will end for you, Jade. Her fingers tightened around the coin until the edges bit into her palm. She thought of the hunters' white, cracked faces, of the cold wind on the rooftops, of the boy whose mark had vanished. She thought of Erica, of Jade, of how survival in this game seemed to demand something ugly, something permanent. Lily stepped closer, her voice low but steady. You can do this. I'll be fine. No, Jade said, her voice trembling. You won't. No one's fine after this. A slow smile spread across the gamekeeper's face. You don't have time for moral speeches. 10 minutes. Jade turned the coin over in her hand, feeling its strange weight. She could walk out of here alive. She could breathe real air again, see daylight, be free. But freedom bought with Lily's life would chain her forever. Her decision came all at once. She dropped the coin back on the table with a sharp clink. No deal. The gamekeeper's smile vanished, replaced by something colder. Then the hunt continues until it ends you. The candles flickered violently. Behind them burst open, and the sound of dozens of pounding footsteps filled the corridor. The hunters had arrived. "Run!" Jade shouted. They bolted up the spiral stairs, the gamekeeper's low chuckle following them like a shadow. The moment they hit the street, the hunters poured from every alley, pale hands reaching, porcelain faces expressionless. Jade and Lily ran side by side, the city twisting into a blur of steel and shadow. With every turn, the hunters closed in. The countdown was in her head now. 8 minutes, 7, 6, each second burning away what little hope she had left. At the final minute, they reached the same bridge where they had first solved one of the game's riddles. Rain had begun to fall, slicking the pavement. The hunters slowed, circling, as if savoring the end. "Stay behind me," Jade said, gripping her last token. Lily mirrored her, token in hand. The hunters surged forward. The tokens flared, light exploding in every direction. For a few seconds, the world was all white fire and shattering sound. When it cleared, the hunters were gone. Only the rain remained, falling in steady sheets. Jade was still breathing. Lily was still there. A voice whispered faintly in the rain, almost too soft to hear. "Round 1 complete." Jade froze. "Round 1." But before she could ask, the black car rolled up to the edge of the bridge, its doors swinging open in silent invitation. Neither of them moved, because they both knew this wasn't over. It had only just begun.